We're down here on a couple of acres of oilseed rape. Pigeons have been hitting it fairly hard. Not from here being previous. Flight lines are following main hedge here. This will be the main flight line that we're underneath here now. There is a smaller one that we've just parked the Jeep up on. We came in, birds have shifted, they've lifted out. So what we have now, we have sun in our back, wind in our back also, which is going to be a big help. Main flight lines, I say, come across the middle of this field, coming from big valley further off, back up for the hill. They're coming in to feed in this, so we'll get the height set up here now, get that nice and right as we want it first of all, get that ourselves comfortable, and then we'll pitch out the decoys. When we have the height ready, decoys, we're ready to go at that. During the summer and that, we pull a few more grasses and things from the headland there and weave them in just to thicken it in a bit better. We're getting a fairly dark background again, the hawthorn here, and height seems reasonably dark. We move out 20-30 yards in the field, it won't be overly noticeable, I can imagine. Now if it is, we'll make a few changes as we need be, but I'd be happy enough for, I say, for the time of year, what covers along the ditch, that it's going to do serve purpose for what we want here today anyway. While we actually have the nets with us, just to fill in that background behind us, I'll throw a net across the back just to break up the silhouette, that we don't stand out for anything coming straight down the field. Just if you're moving and you have birds following behind, you get to take your first bird, hopefully without the second bird noticing you as much as you get up to take the first bird. We get the seats in now, get them comfortable, and then we put out the decoys. There's days they'll work every bit as well. There's days even if you have dead birds out on the floaters, real birds won't want to know. So it all depends on the humour that they're in and how you have them set up, but I'd be quite happy using them there. They work plenty good. As I said there's days pigeons just don't want to know regardless what you have out. And then there's days they literally try to land on top of these. So we'll get them out here now today. What we're going to do, as Jason is using steel shot, we won't put our pattern or our decoys out terribly far. Probably the centre of our pattern is going to be 30 yards out from the decoys, just to make sure we have a good chance of killing these birds today with the steel shot. What I'm doing, setting up these here, I'm keeping not much more than about 10 yards out from the hide with the closest birds, because the birds are following this hedge line down along. What I start doing, I'll put a bit of a lump here, rough horseshoe U shape, and I'll take the arm out into the field to the floaters, try bring the birds down off the field, bring them back in along the hedge line. Even if they don't decoy, they should be following the flight line to give us good sporting birds, but well in range. All the decoys we have, these birds are coming in here and they're not coming in to see 5 and 6 pigeons at a time, they're coming in to see several hundred. Obviously we're not going to bring that many decoys, but as many as we have with us, we'll set them out and use them up and bring a bit more attention down to the end of the field that we're in. You'll see them when they start coming in, they're not overly happy. They'll come in and they'll look around the decoys, they won't lob straight in. Whereas if you look at a field feeding and there is a couple of hundred birds, every bird that comes in across the field just dives straight in head first. Might go up to a city tree, but 90% of what comes across the field will just lob straight into the decoys or into the birds that are already there. We're just trying to make it look like what was there when they buggered off and we came into the field as much as possible. We have it in our favour. We're down in the end of the field where they were when we left or when we arrived. So yes, they have left now at the moment. There's not many coming back, but they've had an hour or so feeding before we got here this morning. They'll have gone up, they'll be digesting that. Bit of luck, they'll come back in 1s and 2s rather than en masse, and then that'll be it for the day. But if we get them to come back in 1s and 2s, we should do well enough down here.
That lad saw me just as I stood up. I thought he was going to carry his curve in and come as a sort of nice driven. And just as I stood up, he saw me and put the hammer down and left hand down, and no, he was he was too good a bird for me. If you're wondering why I've been so lazy for the last hour and let Stephen do all the work, this is his area. He's been watching this field for the last few days and he invited me out to shoot, but rather than me decide where the decoys were going and where the hide was going, I just took his advice on it. And back on the Benelli Raffaello today, I was really looking forward to getting this out on some pigeons. Super light gun, so we'll see how this goes. And yeah, Stephen alluded to it, I'm using steel cartridges today. I'm on Gamebore Supersteel 32 gram 5s. And the reason I'm doing this, at this time of year, we can't get rid of the pigeons if we have any number of them. If we have too many for personal use, game dealers won't take them. So we give them to the falconry guys, and they're very grateful of the free meal for their birds. But obviously they can't feed them to falcons and birds of prey if they've been shot with lead, because there's danger of poisoning the bird. So we shoot them with steel. I've never used these particular steel cartridges before. I have shot pigeons with steel before, and in general you have to reel the range in quite a bit. Steel doesn't kill quite as well as lead. So that's why Stephen said we've put the decoys out nice and close. We'll be trying to kill the birds on the decoys, not take anything at extreme range. But the first couple of birds have come in already, just as we were getting in the hide. Decoyed beautifully, landed on the ground. So it's a good start, and if we can get 20 or 30 here today, it's a great way to start Christmas week. Good boy, come on. Well, unfortunately, that seems to have totally died. We thought it might take off a little bit when it got towards lunchtime, but it just hasn't. And we've decided to pull the pin here. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun. What's come into the field has actually decoyed really well. It's just a pity that the birds that were here this morning and that have been here for the last few days as Stephen has been watching it, they just didn't come back. And look, this is hunting. Best laid plans and all the rest, but there was a lot of birds here this morning when we got here and they just haven't come back, and that happens. It's not always 100 bird days and big bags on the pigeons, and yeah, we're just the same as everybody else. It just we take what we get, but I've enjoyed it anyway. Got some nice clean kills. We've got some birds for the falconry guys. Any day in the field is a good day. Come on.